Hey you guys, welcome back. So today I want to talk with you guys about my spontaneous outer bodies that I started to have in December 2023, and that was, the start of my outer body journeys. I've been having some requests on this topic, so I thought I would make a video for you guys where I dive into my first experiences and what kind of led me to it and how I navigated that time. So let's dive into it. So I thought I would start with some backstory of mine and kind of what led to that point in my life where I started to have those spontaneous out of bodies. So a few years before 2023, I was struggling a lot with depression. I was going through what you could say was like the dark night of the soul, caused by some traumatic events in my life. I got this really profound and deep realization or knowing from, I would say, actually one day to another. Suddenly I didn't feel like hanging out with certain people anymore. I didn't want to go to certain places anymore. I felt like really just coming back into myself and focusing on me and just kind of being in solitude. I had a really strong feeling that I needed to start meditating every day. So that was what I did. I found Dr. Joe Dispenza, and I used his meditations actually every day from when I started. I was very committed. And it was also because he talked a lot about these mystical experiences that people had, and I was very intrigued by that. I really wanted to have a mystical experience. So I did the morning meditations. I also did the quantum meditations, where you also manifest, the life that you want to have for yourself. And then I did the blessing of the energy centers. Fast forward 3 months, we are now in December, and that was when I had my first spontaneous out of body. It was a very small one, but nonetheless, it was enough for me to recognize what it was. So I was in my bed, I was, sleeping. And all of a sudden, I become aware in the state where my soul is about to leave my physical body. And it's like I can hear myself saying to myself, come on, you can do this. You've done it so many times before. And it was like I just committed to, okay, I'm gonna leave my body. And then I flew out of my physical body. And I remember looking down at the bed and I could see that I was floating 20 centimeters over the bed. And then I flew into my living room. I don't really remember so much from what I did in there. And then I came back to my bedroom and I woke up. And when I woke up, I was like, this was not a dream. I knew that I had just been there. And that is how you know the difference also, because it has a completely different feeling to it. I was like, wait, was I just out of my body? Wow, that's amazing. And even though it was just such a tiny experience, it was enough to really get me intrigued. So the next experience that I had, which was my second out-of-body experience, was only a few weeks after my first one. And this was in the beginning of 2024, in January. What happened was I had been a little bit sick and I couldn't really sleep because I kept waking up and coughing. And at some point, I remember it was 3 in the morning. I go out of my bed and go to the bathroom, and then I come back, and I remember laying in my bed saying like, oh man, I'm never gonna fall asleep. And I was just like, okay, let me just try and focus on my breath and just, try and be comfortable and just focus on my breath. So I did that. I swear to you guys, like, it felt like it was only a few minutes after I felt the most crazy vibrations through my body that I had never experienced this before. It was such a wild, intense experience. And somehow I knew that I was about to leave my body. And I remember feeling excited about it. And then I told myself, wait, don't get excited, because you might, abort the mission. So I actually just, thought to myself, just breathe and let it all go. Just breathe and let it all go. And then a few seconds later, I lifted out of my physical body, and I was now out of my body. I was floating over my body in my bed. I got so excited, you guys. I was like, whoa, I actually did it. It was just so wild to me. And mind you, I have known about out of body since I was a kid, because my uncle had told me that he actually left his body during a meditation and saw himself floating above his body when I was a kid. So I always knew that this was possible, and I always was very intrigued by it. I just, thought that was something that only happened to a very few people, or it would be very hard to even have that type of experience, because that's what they say, that, oh, you have to meditate a lot for like many, many, many years to be able to do this, and it's only meant for a few and all of that, which is not true. Yeah, so I was just so excited because I've always wanted to do this. And at this time in my physical life, I was studying a lot of Bashar's work, and I was very intrigued by all of that ET, all of that, and I really wanted to meet an ET. So when I was out of my body, I was like, what do I want to do? And I just said out loud, I'm ready to meet an entity. Not knowing that could mean like a whole bunch of different things. But nonetheless, that was what I said, with the anticipation of meeting an ET. And you guys, this was so amazing. Through my wall in my bedroom comes in this golden ball of shining light through the wall over to me. And I was just like, whoa, what is this? It wasn't really what I was expecting, but I was like, I'll take it. So this ball of golden light comes in, and I feel myself kind of coming down towards my physical body. She was laying here by my arm, and I could feel that she was kind of giving me some energetic, vibrational stuff. She was like infusing something into my body energetically. And it only lasted for like a little bit. And when she was finished, I was like, wait, who are you? And again, as soon as I said it, the name Yukti was being presented to me. I thought, Yukti? I have never heard that name before. And I'm extremely bad at remembering names. So I just I just already knew it. Oh, like, how am I gonna remember this in the morning? I need to have something to help me remember this name. And it was so funny because I immediately thought, okay, what about these biscuits we have in Denmark called tukkiks? And I thought, if I just remember that, tukkiks, because it sounded like yukti, maybe I would be able to remember it. And yeah, she just flew out of my bedroom and gone she was. And I was like, oh man, this is awesome. I want to go out and see some stuff. Like, let's go. So I flew past my window and out through the wall. I just remember it being completely black everywhere. I saw a bunch of like weird stuff going on, which I now know probably was like my own dimensional field. I didn't know what that was at that time. I was just like, no wonder my dreams can be extremely weird sometimes, because there's a lot of weird things going on everywhere here. When I came back into my bedroom and I went back down into my physical body, I was still in the vibrational state. I was still vibrating a lot. And I remember thinking, let me see if I can come out again, if I can do it again. And I could. I came out again. And I was just like, this is amazing. I came out twice. And this time I flew into my living room and I did some stuff in there. Then I came back into my body and I was still vibrating a little bit. And I thought I could try and do it again, but I felt like I had been out for so long, like really long. And I thought to myself, maybe it's best I wake up, because I didn't know what time it was. And so I woke up and guys, I just sat up in my bed. I remember just saying out loud, like, wow, like this is amazing. What the F just happened? I just had an out-of-body experience. Oh my God, like who can I call? Like, and it was during the night, so I couldn't call anybody, but I just had to share it with somebody. I was like, I can't wait till tomorrow. I gotta talk to somebody. This is wild. But but then I grabbed my phone to write the experience down, and I looked at the time and remember it was 3 o'clock when I was going to the bathroom right before the experience. And you guys, it was only 3:30. So I had the whole experience only lasted for 30 minutes, and I felt like I had been out for like so long. So anyhow, in the morning, I remembered, oh yeah, that was like the name. What was the name? Yeah, it was tukkiks that I was gonna remember. But what was her name? And then it just came Yukti. Oh yeah, Yukti. Let me go and Google it just to see if it has like a certain meaning. And this is wild, you guys. This gave me chills all over my body, and it was the biggest confirmation. So I go to Google and I ask, what does this name mean? Yukti. And it means entity in Hindi. And remember, I said, I'm ready to meet an entity. And I asked her, who are you? Yukti. Entity. That was what I asked for. I was just like, you can't make this shit up. Like, it was so wild that I had that confirmation the day after. And I was so happy that I had that confirmation, because even though I knew what I experienced, it was just to have that confirmation just, made it like real solid for me. So that brings me to the third experience, which happened only a few weeks after the second one. So all of these 3 experiences happened within like a month and a half. So what happened was I was taking a nap in my living room, and I became aware as I was all of a sudden sitting in my living room out of my body. And I remember I'm sitting like this, doing something that I have in my hands, but then I look up over towards my couch and I see a man sitting in my couch, in my spot. And he was just sitting there staring out into the air. And I got so stunned. I was like, who are you? Get out of my house. Like, you don't belong here. And poof, there he went. Like, he disappeared as soon as I said that. I didn't really think too much about that because I just kind of was excited. I was out of my body. I was gonna go do something. So I stood up and I just was like, okay, I'm gonna go outside. So I went through my kitchen to my main door and I went outside. And all of a sudden, I was in my old house that I had sold a few years before. And I just remember thinking, I can fly because I'm out of my body. So I flew up and I flew around in the trees, up above the trees. And then I came down again. And I remember I was like, oh yeah, let me look at my hands, because I had read something about, remember to look at your hands if you're dreaming or you think you're out of your body. And I remember they said that if you are, you will not only have 10 fingers. So that was what I was expecting. I'm not gonna have only 10 fingers. So I looked at my hands and I remember they were like glowing. I counted them. And I was like, oh yeah, there's definitely more than 10 fingers. I am out of my body, yes. Now that I'm out of my body, I don't have more than 10 fingers, because now I know that's, that was just what I thought there. So I kind of just, that was what I was seeing. Because remember, what we are thinking about when we're out of body, it manifests instantly. So I woke up from that experience, and yeah, of course, I was like excited again that I had that experience, but I was also a little bit weary because I was like, who was that guy sitting in my couch? Like, that was a little bit creepy to me. And through this month and a half where I had these experiences, I had been trying to like Google and YouTube my way to some people who knew about what it was and other people having these kinds of experiences, and I didn't really find too much at this time. I don't know, it was actually a little bit hard to find information about it. There was information, but it was a lot of misinformation. It was a lot of scarcity mindset stuff, like, it can be dangerous, and like entities can take over your soul when you're out, like they can take advantage of you. And it was just a whole bunch of stuff that kind of scared me a little bit, because mind you, I didn't have anybody to talk to about these things. I was alone with it. I didn't know anybody who had ever had an out-of-body experience besides my uncle, and he didn't even know anything about it, because what the experience he had was so many years ago, and it was like a very quick experience, and it was one time. So he even had some belief systems about it, that was affecting me. And so yeah, I didn't have anybody to talk to that could kind of guide me or tell me about what it was, what to do, and like what not to fear. So I became a little scared actually after that last experience, because like who was that guy, and like maybe they're right, maybe somebody could come and try and do something to me. So I actually said out loud to my guides that I needed a break, because it had been very intense for that month and a half. Because when it started for me, every time I went to bed, I was thinking, am I gonna come out of my body? Like it was very intense to be in that situation when you also are a little bit scared of it. Like it was just yeah, and it was a little bit lonely, to be honest, because like my family and friends, they listened to it and they thought it was, exciting to hear about, but they didn't know anything about it. Yeah, I was in it completely by myself. But I said to my guides, I'm shutting this down because I need to know more about it before I go further into it. So I want you guys to shut this down for now until I want to open it up again. So that's what I did, and it stopped completely for 5 months. And so the next ones that I had after this, I will be talking about in my next video, guys, because I'm trying to keep the videos at a certain length so they won't be like too long. But I believe it's like 4 experiences more in that period of 7 months that I will go into in my next video next week. So, but this was what I wanted to share with you guys today. Be free to, if you have any questions about anything, to write in the comment section. If you guys also have like topics about the other bodies or such, just feel free to also write to me in the comments. I hope this was helpful for you guys. I hope I covered some of the questions that you might have had about my spontaneous out of bodies and how they started. Yeah, I will talk more about it in my next video also. So until then, guys, just take care and I'll see you guys next time. Love you. Bye.